I've made over $300,000 from my online courses in just this year alone. In this video, I want to share with you my exact system for building and launching six-figure online courses. Let's get right into it. Starting with chapter 1, problem fractals. If you want to make money, you have to serve a market. You have to add value to a market. But what does that actually mean, and how do you do that with an online course? Well, if you look over here, you see that we have this diagram of the entire market. And in a market, there are what's called pain pools. There are pools of pain that occur fractally across the market. And these pains are caused by problems. And so the way that you create value is by solving the problems, which mean the pools of pain go away, which means value is created. If I was to snap my fingers right now and to give you an online course making $10,000 a month without you having to do anything, think about how much value that would provide for you, right? That solves so many pains in your life. You have to go to school because your parents don't believe in you because you're not making any money. You have a crappy car that people look at you silly whenever you drive by in it, and you want to get a new one. You can't get a girlfriend because you don't have any money to take some girl on a date. Like, you're broke. You have to work a job you can't stand. All of these pains in your life right now is due to your problem of being broke. So imagine if I was just to snap my fingers and you had a 10K a month business. Think about how much value that would create in your life. That's what we're trying to do with online courses. Is you want to take this market from having all of these pools of pain, and then after your solution, it looks like this. There's no pools of pain. You solve the problem, the pain goes away, which means you created insane value. So the current market, it has pools of pain in it, whichever market you're wanting to serve. That's because the problems create the pains. But if you solve the problem and the pain is now gone, that means you created immense value. Here's the kicker. If you do not actually solve problems that the market has, you will never make long-term money. There are some people in this game who make a couple $100,000, maybe even $1 million just by selling a crappy online course. And to be honest with you, the reality is that's most people in this game. That's why online courses get such a bad rep. Luckily, the tide is changing because those products only stay existing if there's not good products. So if people like us come along and create actual phenomenal online courses, those shifty gurus will disappear. I promise you. They will go away. So you have to become the person who goes into a market and actually provides an insanely valuable online course, meaning you actually solve the problem they have completely. If you do this, you will print money. I know, because this is happening to me right now. I'm making $60K plus a month in just like 1 year of doing this, right? It's insane. It's insane. And so here's the good news about these problem fractals is they occur fractally across the market. What I mean by fractally is, like, if 30 people in a market have this problem, then 30,000 people do. And if you can solve that problem for 30 people using the leverage of an online course, you can solve it for 30,000. Think about this video. Right now in the marketplace, there are a lot of bad online courses because people don't know how to create good online courses. So if I create this one 30-minute video, 20-minute video, showing people how to create a good online course, then 30,000 people could watch it, or maybe even 100,000, a million. Just by creating this one video, I can solve this fractal problem across the entire market with one video. It's absolutely insane. And that's what your online course can do. So right now, let's like say that in the soccer niche, people don't know how to kick a good knuckleball. That's a problem a lot of players have, which means they can't score goals, which means their status is low, which means they're still on the bench, right? All these pains caused by this problem of not knowing how to kick an amazing knuckleball in soccer. If you created an online course which showed people exactly how to do it, gave them resources, templates, video breakdowns, coaching, all of this, to give people a complete solution to their problem and have them actually kicking an insane knuckleball, then you can just duplicate that solution across the entire market. 1 million people could watch that online course and have their problem solved. That's the power of problem fractals. So the situations in the world that cause these problems to exist across the whole market. Let me give you an example of my problem. So I help copywriters sign clients, guaranteed. And one of the biggest fractals that I see is a lot of guys joined the real world. That's how they learned about copywriting. And then after joining the real world, they didn't really actually learn how to get clients. They didn't learn how to actually fulfill good copy. They didn't even really learn what copywriting was, but they were hooked on the idea. So then they started going to YouTube and saw YouTube videos, right? Where guys were selling them stuff, but not actually solving their problem. Like all of these problems didn't just happen to one person. It happens to the whole market because the situations of the market are usually the same, right? And so when you solve a problem and that problem occurs fractally across the whole market, if you solve it once, you can solve it for everyone. And that's how you make a ton of money. Because I make one course, right? And then it can solve the problem for thousands of people across the market. So let's do it. How do we actually do this? How do we solve one of these problem fractals? Because if you can solve one of these fractals, dude, anyone can make 10K a month in almost any niche. I'm serious. But you have to actually solve the problem. So let's do it. So the first step is, what problems have you solved in your life? I want you to take 30 minutes, sit down and think, what is every single problem you solved in your life? You see, due to the curse of knowledge, you don't really remember all the things that you've actually done, you've actually solved. And you've probably solved a lot of problems. If you're watching this video, you're probably someone who's solved some problems in your life before. Whether it be big or small, just think, what is some problems you have solved? So for example, I sat down and I thought, well, I learned how to make some good audio sounding. I can do Photoshop. I can edit some videos, which is my oldest offer. Like I used to be a shorts video editor, right? I've lost weight before. I've gained weight and bulked. I've, gotten a six pack, even though I lost it now. Like I've solved all these problems in my life. I've done so many different things. But what really was cool was me making 10K a month with copywriting. Which brings us to number 2, which is, which of those problems is the most painful to the market? So let's go over the soccer example. Let's say you're becoming a soccer player, right? And you've solved the problem of you increased your 40-yard dash, you got faster, you lost some weight, you managed to kick a really good knuckleball, good free kick. You learned how to do a rainbow on the field. So all these problems you've solved inside of the soccer market, which one is the most painful? Which one solves the most amount of pain if you solve the problem? So for instance, doing a rainbow might be cool, but it doesn't actually help someone win a soccer game or make them super valuable to their team. And so that problem might not be as valuable as if you solved how to kick an insane knuckleball shot, you know what I'm saying? Or how to get really fast, stuff like that. So you always have to think, what problems have you solved in your life? And then 2, which of those problems is the most painful to the market? Because that means if it's the most painful and you solve it, that means you create more value. So example from my life is I had solved all these different random little problems of graphic design and how to create Notion templates and how to do this, that, get better audio, get better lighting. But the biggest problem that I solved in my life was hitting 10K a month. And I did that by becoming a copywriter. So that's the biggest problem I've ever solved in my life. And so that was the most painful to the market as well. Because if I can help guys start a freelance copywriting business where they're making multiple $1,000s in high school or as a 20-year-old, that's huge. That's huge value. And so that is the problem that I decided to go with. And so step 3 is, what does the market think is their biggest problem? So it doesn't matter what their problem actually is. It matters what they think is their problem because that's what they want solved. So in my example, I help copywriters make money. That's the big general thing that I do. I help broke teenage guys who are entrepreneurs who are excited about this entrepreneurship game, learn a skill, and make money. And their biggest problem, I can tell you right now, probably your problem as well, your biggest problem is your beliefs. You don't believe the right things. You don't have the right mindset. You don't understand foundational knowledge of how to actually provide value and stuff like that. But here's the issue. No one wants to buy a mindset course, No one wants to hear that. So I don't position the problem I solve as mindset or productivity. I help them get clients. That's the biggest problem they think they have. Is they say, I can't get clients. If I could just get clients, I would win. So that's what they think is their biggest problem. The market thinks its problem is not being able to get clients. And so that's what I solve. Now, in reality, my course, my coaching, it solves all the other stuff, right? Because that's the stuff that really matters. And then they actually get clients. But I don't sell them on the idea of mindset and all this stuff. I sell them on getting clients. And so once you make a list of problems you've solved in your life, and then when you figure out which one of those problems is the most painful to the market, then the next thing is, what does the market think is their biggest problem? What do they think is the most painful, right? Not what actually is the most painful, but what do they think? What does the market see as being a big deal to them? So in the soccer example, speed might be their biggest problem, but you might not be able to sell people on just getting faster in soccer. Maybe it's scoring a lot more goals. Like you want to position it in what they really want. And then you can teach them what they need in the course. That's not how you sell it to them, right? And so if you do these three things, you will identify a fractal problem in the market that you can start solving, which brings us on to chapter 2, which is iterative, scalable solutions. If you do not actually solve a big problem for the market using the leverage of technology, you're not going to make money. But the cool part is, if you do become one of the very few people who can actually make a course that really solves the problem using leverage of technology, you will make a frick ton of money. And here's how we do it. So take a look at this diagram. On top, we have specific instruction. On the left, we have base knowledge. And on the right, we have support and motivation. And inside this diagram is where you find the $1 million info product, the $1 million course. I can tell you from spending over $20,000 on courses, there are very few good online courses. And if you become one of the people who creates an amazing, phenomenal, problem-solving online course, you will never worry about money again. You won't. And so you do this by having this perfect blend of these three pillars. So let's go over these right now. So number one is base knowledge. A lot of people don't even think about this when creating online courses. What you must do for these people is teach them how to think, starting with giving them fundamental truths or first principles around the problem you solve. So for instance, I teach copywriters how to get clients, but I have an entire first course that has very little to do with copywriting. It teaches them the basics. I teach them value creation. I teach them where money came from. I teach them the first principles of mindset. I teach them basic psychology of human beings. Because they want outreach templates, right? They want to make money, but they don't even know what money is. They don't know where money comes from. They don't know how money gets moved around. And so I have to teach them this first because ultimately they want money and they want clients. But before I can give them, money and clients and give them these outreach templates and systems and all this, I have to actually teach them what the frick is money? What is a client? How do you get a client to take action, right? And so it's all about giving them fundamental truths around the problem you solve. Next is, what beliefs do they need to solve the problem? And so it's not enough to just know this knowledge. If you don't believe the right things, you won't take action. And so base knowledge starts with giving them fundamental truths and then showing them what beliefs that they need to actually solve that problem. And the last thing is mental models for decision-making around the problem. So how do you teach them the right ways to think so that they can actually solve that problem? So an example is a lot of people try to do YouTube. And the way they view YouTube, their perspective on YouTube is so wrong that it pretty much guarantees they always fail. And this was me in the past. I had 13 YouTube channels before these two that actually started working. And what changed is the entire way I view YouTube. If you want to hear more about that, you can see my last video. But you want to give your people mental models that they need to actually win and actually solve their problem. So that is base knowledge. Moving on to circle number 2, which is specific instructions. And so once you've given them this foundational knowledge, that's not enough to help them get results immediately. You must give them very specific instructions. And so this looks like the correct step-by-step instructions on how to solve every small problem inside of the big problem. So for instance, if you're going to sell a online course on how to kick the perfect soccer knuckleball, what are all those small problems you have to solve, right? First, it's the form of the kick. What cleats do you wear? Where do you hit the ball on your foot? How do you train your muscles to get stronger at kicking the knuckleball, right? All these little, there's a million things you could think of, but how do you eat clean to gain muscle? Like, there's so many small problems inside of solving the bigger problem. Or in my instance, I help copywriters sign clients, guaranteed. But there's so many problems, right? Where do they find leads to reach out to clients? What offer do they send to clients? What email? What subject line? How do they structure like a Loom pitch? How do they set up their Calendly questions? How do they conduct the sales call? Like, there's so many small problems inside of the big problem, and I have to give them step-by-step instructions on how to solve all of it. So you want to break down the big problem into small ones and then completely solve every small problem, which then leads to the big problem being solved. So a good example from this is I taught my guys how to source leads using YouTube. And it is like an hour-long video with every single method, including ChatGPT prompts and help, like how to find unlimited copywriting leads on YouTube. Like, it could be, it's a whole other course, but it's just one module in my program. So I took this small problem of how do you find leads to input into your outreach system, and I completely solved it, right? And I'm gonna do the same thing for Instagram, for school, for every other platform. I'm gonna solve every platform so they can find unlimited leads and get clients. But that's just one small problem. But you have to solve all the small problems in a row to actually achieve the solution of the big problem. And last thing is build and give them a system they need to get the result they want. So it's not enough just to give them base information. Teach them how to think for themselves, but then also give them a system that they can use. And that's where the magic happens. Because if you give them a system, but don't teach them how to think or how it's made or how to run it, they're going to fail. But if you just give them how to think and all these thinking models, it's going to take them forever to get results. But if you give them the fundamental knowledge and a step-by-step system, they will crush. They will crush. If you want to see this, go look at the results on my page, on my Copy Elite page. Probably a second link in the description. And this isn't to sell you guys. I want you to see you can create an online product that gets phenomenal results by using these two things. So now, once you have the base knowledge, you've given them specific instructions on how to act on that base knowledge to actually solve their problem, you then want to give them support and motivation. See, you're making online courses for humans. And humans are emotional beings. And they have questions. And everyone is different to some extent. And so you must provide support and motivation to actually get insane results. And so I kind of view these as guardrails. So I give people the roadmap using my courses, my resources, my templates, checklists, all that. But the support and motivation is like the guardrails that whenever they get off track a little bit, they hit these guardrails and they get right back on track. And so one of my guys, Griff, joined my coaching like months ago when it was first starting, and he quit. He gave up. He got unmotivated. He had something happen in his life, and he just quit. But we kept on. We kept at him, kept asking where he's at, whatever. He came back, then signed a client, and now is making $4K a month, moved to New York, and is making his own call. He's loving life. All because we had support in place. People get demotivated, and so you must give them some guardrails, support, and motivation. And so the second thing, yes, these are guardrails. The second thing is you want to solve extremely specific problems. So obviously you want to make the course for all the problems that you can solve for everyone because it scales. But people will have very, very niche specific problems just based on them. And so you want to give them some kind of support that they can reach out to get those things solved. So we have like Q&A chats in my community. We also have a one-on-one form where people can submit an entire Loom. They can describe their problem, what's happening, and then we can solve it for them one-on-one so they get that extra help they need. Nextly is community, right? You need a community of people on the same track just because it helps people stay motivated. And guys, we're humans, right? Like we love community. We need community. So yeah, just keep community. And then next one is inspiration and belief breaking. And so by having these things, the guardrails, the community, solving these problems, you're going to figure out how to inspire others and break their beliefs, which I talked about earlier, how belief breaking is one of the biggest things you actually do to get people results. And And by having a community where people are seeing wins every day, they're getting help every day, they're seeing people inspired every day, like that will bring insane inspiration. I've had so many guys in my community who literally, like 2 guys last week were saying, hey, I was slacked off last week, but I saw everyone putting insane work. I saw this person sign a client. I saw this person make $1,000. And now I'm back. I'm ready. I'm locked in. I'm ready to go. If you just have a course and don't have community, people will just get demotivated. And that's not what you want. Even though they've already paid you, you want them to get results. That's why you're doing it. You're not doing it for the money. You want to help people. That's how you make the most long-term money, by the way, right? So give them that support. Give them that inspiration. We have so many different little things in our program that gives inspiration. We have a wins channel. We have all these different like testimonials. We have inspiration of like people's first outreach message versus the one that they actually sign their client with. And so people can see the big dogs in our program and where they started from. They're like, wow, they sucked. And so they get inspired. They're like, I suck right now, but I can be like them if I keep going. So that's how you do it. And that's the 3 things, right? So base knowledge, specific instructions, and support and motivation. If you have all of those at the core, you have $1 million online course, a product. Now, how do you actually make these things not suck, right? So those are the pillars, but how do you make them good? Well, the secret is iteration. And so this is the iteration cycle, okay? You have a new version of your product or a new version of one of the pillars, right? So let's say you introduce a new base knowledge course, or you introduce a new specific instructions, you introduce a new system, or you introduce a new support section. Then you want to get customers. You can't just build these things and not get customers, or else you're never going to have feedback. So you go from a new version to then getting customers. Then those customers use the thing, they give you feedback, and you create a new version. And if you want to know why so many people fail to make money in this space and their online courses suck, is because of 2 reasons. First, they try to perfect this course with no feedback. And they spend 100 hours on one course, they launch it, and it sucks. And they get demotivated because they spent so much time on it, and they quit. Or these people will put out a course that took them 1 weekend to make, and then sell it forever, and they never improve it. Both of these will end up with you having very unsatisfied customers, and they'll leave you broke. But the big dogs who are making these $1 million a month courses, this is how they do it. They create a new version. They don't try to perfect it. They just do their best and put it out. Then they get customers. Those customers use it, then give them feedback. And they immediately take that feedback to make a new version of the course and then get more customers. And those customers use it. They give them feedback. New version, version 3, version 4, 5, 6, 7. Your first product will suck. I guarantee you your first product will suck. Simply because you don't know how to create products. You also don't know what your people actually need, because your path that you took to succeed probably looks a lot different than the majority. So your first product will suck. But the only way to get to version 9 of your product, to version 10, to version 11, to version 14, 15, 21, is to make version 1 through 20. So you can't get to V9 if you don't make V1 through 8. So you can't be scared to fail with these things. You have to fail hard, fail fast. If you ask my guys, my original clients in my copywriting coaching, they will tell you my first course was so bad, bro. Like, it was so bad. It was so bad. And part of me didn't even want to put it out there and sell it. But I knew I had to, because the only way for me to make this amazing product that I have right now was to go through so many iterations and to get feedback from my customers. And if you care, people won't even know your product sucks. It's all about contrast to the marketplace. So the example is, think about the iPhone 1. If you were one of the first people to ever buy an iPhone, like the first iPhone, back then, you were a legend. Everyone was blown away, like, whoa, this is crazy. But if you had an iPhone 1 today, you'd be the laughing stock of your school. People would laugh you to death if you had an iPhone 1. It's the same product as it was. But by contrast, it was way better back then. And now they've iterated on it so many times where it looks terrible. And so my course back in the day, the first guys who took it thought it was amazing. And they got results from it. But if they were to look at my stuff now and look back, they'd be like, wow, that is terrible. How did you even sell that? Right? Because of how many iterations. But imagine if Apple stopped making their iPhones after iPhone 1. They would have lost. You would not know who Apple was right now, you young guys. But what happened? They kept getting customers, getting feedback, and iterating. Getting customers, feedback, iteration. Customers, feedback, iteration. And now we have iPhone, I don't know, 15, 16, whatever the heck it is. And it's phenomenal, right? All right, moving on to chapter 3, value perception. Just because your product is now valuable doesn't mean people are gonna buy it. This is the harsh truth. People say, oh, build it and they will come. That's not true. If you build an amazing water park in the middle of the jungle somewhere that no other human knows about, no one's gonna come, okay? So you must increase the perceived value of your product to match the actual value so people actually take action and purchase. So let's go over what an example of low perceived value looks like. So if you look on the screen right now, you can see the actual value of our course. Let's say it's $2,000, right? You follow the instructions above, you created an insanely valuable course that actually solves a big problem for people, and it's dope. And you're charging $1,000 for it. So these people are getting insane value if they buy it, right? Double the value of what they spent. But their perceived value of your course is only $300. So you take the price is $1,000 and they only perceive the value to be $300. Are they going to buy? No. No one's going to buy. No one's going to know how good it is. And everyone's sad, right? So you have a sad customer because your problem is not solved, and you're sad because you didn't make any money, and everyone loses. So if you have low perceived value, everyone loses. You have to market. You have to, okay? So let's go over the high perceived value. So let's say your actual value is $2,000, right? Same course, you didn't change anything, still valuable. And now people perceive it to be $2,000. And the price you're charging is still $1,000. Now they're getting an extra $1,000 in value just by buying your course, which means happy customer, right? Problem solved. You over-delivered. They spent $1,000 and they got $2,000 worth of value. They're happy. You're happy because you made $1,000 just by clicking a few buttons because you have a scalable course, right? So everyone wins. This is why you must have a great product and great marketing. That's how you serve your customers. Because if you have a product that's worth $10,000 and your marketing is so good where people actually see the value and they're like, man, this is $10,000, and they get it for $5,000, they're happy. Everyone wins. And so you have to increase the perceived value of your product. And here's how you do it. The first step is problem, offer, fit. So what is the problem that your customers, the people in the market, associate all of their pain to? So for instance, copywriters that I serve, all their pain is around not having clients. They think, man, if I just had a client, man, I'd make money. If I just had a client, I'd be a good fulfilled copywriter. I could scale. I could show people how good my skills are. So all of their pain, all this pain that they feel with is around not having clients. The pain of their friends and family thinking they suck is because they don't have actual clients. Them not believing in themselves that they're actually good is because they can't get clients. Them not having money to drop out of school or quit the job they hate is because they don't have clients, right? So that is where all of their pain is located, is around this problem, in the copywriting niche at least, of not having clients. So you have to sit there and think, what is the problem that they associate all their pain with in your niche, right? What is all that pain associated to? Next is, what is the transformation that is emotionally charged for them? So in my instance, right, I guaranteed copywriters 3 to 5 clients. And so when they hear that, maybe you're one of the copywriters who came from my main channel, you're watching this, that brings up so much emotion to you. Like you're visualizing having 3 to 5 paying clients. You're like, wow, I'd be making like 2, 3, maybe $4,000, maybe $5,000 a month. I could quit going to school. Like you see how this one transformation has so much emotion around it, okay? Maybe it's lose 10 to 20 pounds. Maybe it's not losing weight. Maybe it's getting 3 to 5 inches on your arms. Maybe it's growing massive traps. Like what transformation has the most emotions charged around it? And then lastly, does your offer completely solve their biggest problem? So in your market, they have so many different problems. but does your offer solve the biggest one? So I could teach copywriters how to become a master copywriter, or how to write amazing sales pages, or how to over-deliver on your clients. But the biggest problem that the majority of the market has, the one that occurs fractally, is they don't know how to get clients. And so that's where my offer is centered around this problem. That's why I call it the problem offer fit, right? Does your offer address the biggest, most painful problem that your market has? If so, you're going to be able to get clients, right? Moving on to number 2, action thresholds. So you have to increase the pain and confidence to the point where someone is ready to buy. So if you look on the screen right now, we have 2 bars. We have pain on top, and we have confidence on the bottom here. And as you can see, this dotted line, about 3/4 of the way through these lines, this is the action threshold. So basically, if you build the pain and confidence up to where it passes this threshold, people take action, right? And so over time, what can you do to increase the pain they feel of the problem and increase the confidence that you can solve it? And at a certain point, they will buy. I asked my guys on a coaching call when I was teaching them this, how they ended up buying my program. And I showed them how they first saw me, they watched a free video, increased their confidence a little bit. They saw other guys in my videos getting clients, increased the pain a little bit, increased the confidence a little bit. They saw my sales page, all testimonials, confidence way up, pain way up. The specific way that I talk about all of these issues increases their pain, right? They see the wins on my Instagram. Also, a great example is I have a mural board that I put in the description of my main videos, which literally just has like a freaking massive scroll of paid wins, like payment screenshots over and over again. Not just like, oh, this course is great, but no, like money screenshotted. Hey, this course made me a bunch of money. I have a ton of those in the description. If I can remember, I'll put it in the description of this video so you guys can see an example. But think about how much pain and confidence that builds, right? They see all these people just like them winning. Pain goes to the roof. They see them winning through using my program. Confidence in me goes to the roof. So every video, every post, every testimonial adds that little bit more pain and confidence. And at some point, it triggers their action threshold. They book a call with me and they buy the program, right? And so you have to think, how do I increase pain and confidence in everything that I do? In all your marketing, in your ads, in your videos, in your descriptions, testimonials, sales pages, all this. How do you increase pain and confidence? If you increase pain and confidence to the point where it passes the action threshold, people will buy your stuff. But if you don't have those, no one's going to buy. You got the best product in the world, but if your sales page is terrible, you don't have any testimonials there, you're not speaking with confidence, you're not talking about the specific problems, you don't give any pain, no confidence, no one's going to buy. So you have to increase the pain that they feel and increase the confidence in you to the point where they take action. And thirdly, this is a secret weapon I use that I've never heard anyone really talk about in the marketing space because marketers are so bad at it. But it's called general excellence. When you look at Apple, when you buy a product from Apple, when you buy a product from Tesla, the general excellence is just amazing. They've thought of every little thing. The box is sleek. The way you unbox it is fancy, right? The AirPods have this nice little plastic wrap with a tab on it. Like all this stuff they didn't have to do. It doesn't change the product at all, but it's just the general excellence. It's how people perceive your brand and your stuff in their mind. And so I ask myself, how do my customers perceive everything I do? In my course, I have an intro like animation I paid a lot of money for. It looks sick. Has this like epic, movie theater sound to it. This microphone I bought last week is $3,000. This is kind of a dream of mine. I'm an audio nerd, but this is a $3,000 microphone. You guys are not even going to be able to tell the difference. But it's just general excellence. Everything I do, I want it to look absolutely immaculate. And once again, I do this over time with iteration. But everything you do when it comes to your marketing, don't be the guy who just has a dookie, crappy sales page. When you're first starting, that's fine, okay? But over time, when you get money, when you get time, make your stuff look excellent. Make it look good. That increases the perceived value of everything you do. So even on my client interviews, I created a templated background that has our logo in it. And it has like smoke in the background while we're doing the interviews. Like, it's just stuff like that if you're using something that you can use over and over again, it's worth you just taking the time and putting in that general excellence and going above and beyond. And so if you do that, right? If you have a problem offer fit, which is perfect and it's emotionally charged, when you increase the action threshold, when you hit the action threshold by increasing pain and confidence, and then you have general excellence, people will perceive your product to be insanely valuable. And then if it's actually valuable, everyone wins. You make a ton of money, you help a ton of people, and bro, life is just good. Like, you just feel amazing. So let's recap. I know this was a lot, but I want to make these things super valuable. How to create a six-figure online course, right? The first step is identify a big problem fractal in the market, okay? A problem that occurs fractally across the whole market that you can solve. 2, solve the problem completely using the leverage of technology and through multiple iterations. 3, increase the perceived value of your product to match its real value. If you do that, you will have a six-figure online course, maybe even seven-figure, right? So hope you guys enjoyed. If you learned something, tell me in the comments what you learned. I hope you're not watching these for entertainment. You should be watching these for education, right? So if you learned something, tell me below, and let me know what else you want to see. See you guys in the next video.